Good morning. Welcome to the public and premium video discussion for Thursday, February 9th, 2017. We're going to quickly go over the evolving winter storm that is starting to take place throughout the region. As we dive into the storm, let's take a look at the observations. Temperatures right now are free falling. Remember, yesterday we were in the lower 60s. Right now we are rapidly falling into the upper 20s to lower 30s over much of Pennsylvania, fallen to about 36 degrees and 33 degrees over southeastern Pennsylvania. Philadelphia currently is at 42. Northern New Jersey, though, is at 34. And over Long Island it is 37, and reports of sleet is already starting to mix in over portions of western Long Island and around the Bronx. New York City also is around 35 degrees. Down along coastal New Jersey, temperatures are in the upper 30s to lower 40s over central New Jersey and lower to mid 40s over southern New Jersey. We have winds basically from the east and northeast right along the coast are around 10 miles per hour. Then they're from the north and the northwest, and this is where we're starting to get our strong cold air transport developing over portions of Pennsylvania. Now, let's really dive into these observations. I've noticed some very interesting things. First of all, on the water vapor satellite picture, you can start to see the trough going from positive to neutral and now a negatively tilted trough. And that's going to lead to an enhancement of this low pressure system that's starting to get its act together. These low pressure systems will converge and will track towards the Delmarva Peninsula. And as it's doing so, it will rapidly intensify. So when you take a look at the precipitation shear that I'm showing you, it's only the start. This storm hasn't even started to what's called bombogenesis, rapidly intensify. I want you to think about that for a moment as we look at the rest of these observations. We're just starting to see this storm evolve. So let's step forward. On the infrared satellite picture, we're already starting to see significant cloud heights begin to build. Clouds are getting much colder as we look at the mid-Atlantic here. And what you're going to notice as the storm evolves is a lot of oranges start to show up as the rapid ascent of air starts to take hold. Right now, what we're seeing here is 850 millibar frontogenesis right here. Once this storm really starts to get cranking, you'll start to see this whole area become blue, yellow, and orange, signifying significant rising air. And we're already seeing along the mid-Atlantic coast here some of that convection starting to develop as the pressures start to fall along the mid-Atlantic coast. So this is the current surface map. Here's our low pressure system. The latest observations just came in, and the pressure has already fallen 3 millibars from sitting over southwestern Virginia and has jumped towards the Delmarva Peninsula at 996 millibars. So we already seen a 3 millibar drop from this low pressure system. Just this data in literally just in the past 2 minutes. So with that coming in, what's going to happen is that you see this freezing line here. As this low pressure system intensifies, this freezing line at the surface is going to crash south. And as it crashes south, all that rain is going to change over to snow. And a flash freeze is going to occur. So that wet pavement is going to become rather icy. So use caution when walking outside today because we're going to be dealing with some rather icy conditions. On the latest radar, you can see that rain snow line starting to crash south. And what's going to happen here is that those of you who are probably saying, hey, we're not going to see any type of heavy snowfall here in southeastern Pennsylvania or anywhere near 6 inches or Philadelphia or even the New Jersey coast. I'm seeing that all over the place. You watch this storm. As this low pressure system rapidly explodes right off the Delmarva Peninsula and southern New Jersey coast, you're going to see this precipitation shield light up with dark blues, yellows, if you're just looking at a regular radar. And what that's going to signify is significant banding starting to develop over southeastern Pennsylvania. Then it'll shift towards Philadelphia, central New Jersey, and then really get cranking over the New York City metro and off towards Connecticut. Right now, this precipitation shield, remember, is driven not by the intensification of this low pressure system yet, but by 850 millibar frontogenesis, which I'll show in a moment. Once this storm really gets cranking, then you'll start to see some back building over here in the precipitation shield to the west, and this precipitation shield pivot as the low pressure system rapidly deepens. This is 925 millibars. This is the 925 millibar low starting to form. It's just starting to get its act together right now. And you can see with the latest observations that cold air is crashing to the coast. That's why we're starting to see sleet mix into portions of Long Island already, and heavy sleet at that. And we're going to start to see that over central New Jersey and building down towards Philadelphia as that cold air is rushing in. You're likely already starting to see some sleet and rain already taking hold over southeastern Pennsylvania. Now, where's the snow line? Well, that's at 850 millibar. Here's our 850 millibar low. You can see the cold air 850 millibars crashing again towards the coast. Watch for that rain snow line to follow soon after these latest, which just came out like 2 minutes ago. This latest evolution of the 850 millibar freezing line crashing to the south. Now what's going to happen is that once this 850 millibar low shifts off the coast and rapidly starts to fall, rapidly starts to intensify, you're going to see this whole area of cold air, this cold air transport, shift right towards the coast, and that's what's going to lead to such a dynamic atmosphere, because the surface is still going to be, in the mid to upper 20s over the New York City metro, upper 20s to lower 30s in the Philadelphia metro. But you're going to have 850 millibars falling to 6 to 10 degrees below zero. So -6 to -10. So you're talking about a 6 to 10 degree gradient over the region from the surface to 850 millibars. And that leads to what we call convective precipitation. That could also mean thunder snow for portions of around the Philadelphia metro, on northeast through central New Jersey, the New York City metro, Long Island, southern Hudson River Valley, and Connecticut. At 500 millibars, we're starting to see the shift of the 500 millibar trough into a negative trough. We got about another 2-3 hours before this starts to go fully negative, but we're already starting to see that evolution right now. And here's the backside of the polar trough diving into the backside, and you can see the evolution of strong winds on the backside of the trough leading to that shift. And we can see a better view of this. This just got updated. Let me just refresh this real fast just to make sure. And what we're basically seeing is we're starting to see the trough here starting to go negative. This is from Penn State EWAL. This data just came in, and you can see the backside of this trough, the polar trough, diving into the backside of this trough. And you can see the strong PVA associated with this trough as it starts to go more and more negative. And that's going to lead to strong ascent, strong divergence and diffluence over the northern mid-Atlantic at 500 millibars on up to 250 millibars. And at the jet streak here, at 300 millibars, you can start to see that jet streak just starting to form. This is going to mature into a strong jet streak anywhere from 110 to 150 knots from New England to the coastal waters of Long Island, that is going to rapidly enhance this low pressure system between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. this morning. And that is when the storm's really going to be cranking. Again, I just want to show you the 850 millibar frontal genesis here. Now consider this. Once this low pressure system really starts to intensify off the New Jersey coast, this frontal genesis is going to expand, and you are going to see some very impressive snowfall rates as a result, because of this strong frontal genesis at the mid-levels, because of the strong ascent from the surface to the mid-levels, and because of the strong divergence and diffluence that's happening at the upper levels. So what does that all mean? Well, when we step back, and let me go back to the surface map here, this low pressure system is going to track in this direction right here. In fact, let me draw this line out for you. So, arrow. Okay, so the low pressure system is going to track in this direction and then turn up this way towards what we call the benchmark. And as a result, that's going to lead to an area of precipitation that's going to be very, very heavy. And that setup is going to be right, let's see, let me draw this out for you. Basically, that's going to lead to intense precipitation right in this area right here. This is where I'm expecting to see intense frontal genesis, and at the same time, very impressive snow bands that's going to allow this snowfall to just pile up to get to up to 12 inches or more in many of these locations. So let's dive into this forecast right now for the evolution here of this storm. Haven't changed its forecast much at all. Still looking at 2 to 6 inches over portions of Scranton up to about Poughkeepsie. More likely you're going to be up closer to 6 inches as you head towards Poughkeepsie. The closer you are to this area of blue over here is most likely where you're going to see that 6-inch snowfall amounts. I don't think that we're going to go over 6 inches in these locations, only because the mesoscale banding is going to be so intense down here that you're going to get a lot of sinking air up here. Okay, I think that's what's going to show up, and that's the basis of this forecast right here. Basically, this is my ground zero right here, the dark blue. Lancaster, York, watch out. That snowfall is going to start to come in and it's going to pour quickly. But you're more likely going to be around 6 inches. Wouldn't be surprised if some areas come below that 5 inches. But basically, you're going to be right around that 6-inch mark. Allentown, Philadelphia. Basically, if you're right on the southern edge of this, you're more likely to be around 6 inches. Philadelphia, the south side may end up only with 4 inches, but the north side easily is going to end up with 9-10 inches of snow. A very tight snow gradient right over Philadelphia, and it's going to continue all the way on through northern Ocean County. Monmouth County, much of northern New Jersey, Trenton, New York City, Long Island, the southern Hudson River Valley, and much of Connecticut, including New Haven and Hartford. We're looking at 6 to 12 inches of snow. If you get into one of those mesoscale bands for an hour or two, you'll easily push over 12 inches. And in fact, with the low pressure system intensifying, keep an eye on eastern Long Island and southeastern Connecticut for going over 12 inches very easily and possibly pushing as much as 18 inches in some isolated spots because of intense mesoscale banding. In addition to the heavy snow, the winds are going to get very, very strong. We're talking about winds of 15 to 30 miles per hour, gusts over 40 miles per hour, reducing visibility to near zero from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. this morning, basically right in the heart of rush hour. As we head further south, we're looking at anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of snow in this area. Look for periods of rain to continue on through much of the early morning, changing over to snow and sleet. Same thing for southern New Jersey, basically extreme southern New Jersey, Cape May County, for example, and right along the coast of the Delaware Bay. We're looking at anywhere from 1 to 3 inches, and you're going to see primarily mostly rain out of this and ending off as snow. So basically, to wrap this up, the storm is evolving as expected. It is taking shape. The cold air is dropping south. The transition is starting to happen from snow to sleet, and from rain to sleet to snow. And as that evolution takes place, a lot of you that have been saying, hey, it was too warm yesterday, no way this is going to happen, there's no way we're going to see snowfall take shape. You watch the evolution of this storm over the next several hours, it's going to get you by surprise. So that's it for today. With this video, we will continue to have live coverage throughout the day today with updates every hour and also premium live coverage continuing. Thank you, and as always, please stay safe out there.